I recognize the presence of the table jury and the audience, plus the two competing sides. And I'm here as the affirmer, Sendion Amos David from Bombo Senior Secondary School. Besides me, Salim, Shafiq, and Doris. We are affirming the resolution. I would like to begin with, or to start with, the anti-homosexuality bill as stated by the first negator from the first negator. And in this case, when we look at the anti-homosexuality bill, we can relate it to the first bills that have been amended in the Uganda's law, like the law on prostitution, which is there, but is not working. Who knows why it's not working? Because the enforcers of the laws are the clients to the prostitutes. Therefore, I say that this anti-homosexuality bill will do nothing more on controlling homosexuality increase. Instead, we should shut down single-sex schools to fight homosexuality. When we have a look onto the organization, as my rebuttal number 2 said, the organization that has been distributing computers, it was recently closed or shut down in August of 2022 so as to fight homosexuality. Who knows why? This is because it was distributing computers containing homo or pornographic videos, and yet the Ministry of Education that we are representing today and we are today is not aware of. Therefore, it has been increasing the rate of homosexuality. But if we shut down the single-sex schools, we shall have managed to fight homosexuality in Uganda. And the other was sensitizing on homosexuality, as still said,
POI,
not allowed, as still said by their rebuttal number 1 or by their first constructive. When we have a look on sensitizing on homosexuality in schools, there have been more sensitization done. As my second rebuttal said, on to AIDS and HIV. But it takes more than years to overcome it. But if we just do this right away, we shall have fought this issue of someone not getting used to another gender. That's one of the main causes of homosexuality in Uganda. One being in an environment where is only one gender. And if we are trying to fight that, let's close single-sex schools
POI.
And we come to a coordinating environment so as we are used and we can find opportunity to choose or to
POI.
select or to nominate anybody of opposite sex allowed.
POI,
Allowed?
do you think we don't have boarding schools and mixed sex schools here in Uganda?
To argue with you or not even to argue with you, to urge against you. What I can say or inform you is that a number of single-sex schools, it's believed that it's 11 to 22%, as stated by Pearl Times as one of our sources of information. Yeah, are you getting it? Now, in all those, there is a possibility of 2% of those schools being boarding, and we have seen very many situations whereby such actions or such have been engaged in. To add on to what we have a status quo of 24 people in Kampala or in schools close to Kampala, whereby the 100 schools were suspected. The 61% were urged as gays for gayism, and the 39 was urged as bisexual, and the total makes up 92% of the 24 from our source of information, which is the National Institution of Health. I remain as Sendion Amos David from Bombo Senior Secondary School, who stands still to affirm the resolution that says this House, as the Minister of Education, will shut down single-sex schools as a bid to fight homosexuality. I rest my case.
no one is above the law. Ayo Anagladys is my name, from Airforce Army Secondary School. Resolve. The first affirmer came and was talking about homosexuality being exposed in most of the single-sex schools, but he didn't give us the evidence, the source of information that shows the single-sex schools being so in high level of homosexuals. Secondly, the first affirmer came deceiving the whole house that the meaning, deceiving the whole house, failing to give the meaning of homosexuality. Homosexuality is the sexual attraction between members of the same gender. But he was telling us, giving us the example of opposite sex, and yet opposite sex is referred to as heterosexual, and as homosexuality is the having of sex between members of the same sex, but they were misdefining for us the word homosexuality. They weren't all receiving the whole August house that homosexuality is highly represented in the single-sex schools in Uganda. Not granted, please. The third affirmer came around and was telling us that the democracy of homosexuality is documented. He didn't give us the source of information. And if it is illegal, why are they arresting people who are carrying out homosexuality? They are not aware of the dangers of homosexuality. And we as the Ugandan National Teachers Union, we stand firm and say closing of shutting down of the single-sex schools is not the solution of fighting homosexuality in schools. Not granted, please. We are going to carry up the following measures to fight homosexuality in schools. We are going to restrict some of the non-government organizations that fund homosexuality in schools. For example, borrowing reference from the barringfoundation.com that funds the organization of homosexuality, we are not going to allow these things in schools allowed.
Madam, I would like to ask you a question. You're saying that we didn't give the statistics of homosexuality, whatever, being exposed. Would you please give us and see that the rate of homosexuality being exposed in single-sex schools is more than in mixed?
Point noted. Point noted. The statistics, according to the www.monitor.com Uganda, shows 30% of students in single-sex schools alleged of committing homosexuality. And this, we are going to take the following measures: enacting strict laws against homosexuality by arresting those personnel, not granted, by arresting the personnel engaging in homosexuality, carrying out sex education. Most of these students in schools, they are not aware of the dangers of homosexuality, but once we are giving them sensitization about the dangers of homosexuality through sex education, that teaches them that sex is meant for opposite sex and not the same gender, of which sex is meant for production and not for useless and satanic impressions. The third speaker from the negators, they failed to give us their plan. Yes, you're going to shut down the single-sex schools. What is the way forward? They have not given us their way forward. They have not given us their plan. We as the Ugandan National Teachers Union, our plan is to sensitize all teachers and counsel the learners about the dangers of homosexuality through training the students and regulating strict laws and principles within the school. Once the law is put in place, no one is going to resist following the law. We are going to call upon the religious leaders to come and condemn evils of homosexuality. The house at large and the members of the opposite side, our farmers, we are calling upon you to come and gather us and support the spread of sensitization in schools to fight against homosexuality. According to the www.monitor.ug, talks about the best performance coming from single-sex schools, which means it promotes leadership and promotes academics education because of good performances. I remain Ayo Anna Gladys from Airforce Army Secondary School. We should not close the single-sex schools. I rest my case.
This is the High School Crossfire. We'll be back in a minute.